أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا بالقاسم محمد وعلى إطرة الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. This is a new series called Bringing It Home Dua. And we are doing this in honor of Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam's Shahada, which will be commemorating in a few days' time, inshallah. I have chosen this topic because obviously Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam was known as Imam, had the title of Imam Sajjad because he was constantly in communication with God, praying to him, doing dua to him, and we have the whole sahifa, which are duas that have been brought to us from him. And in this series, I want to look at how we can bring dua into our homes, into our lives, into our beings, and actually bring dua home to us. I will be looking very briefly at the first stance of Dua Makarimul Akhlaq, but in this talk today, I just want to introduce the whole concept of dua and what it means, inshallah. So, looking at the verse in Surah Baqarah, verse number 186, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. وإذا سألك عبادي أني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. I want to just break this up. The translation is, and when my servant asks you concerning me, then indeed surely I am near. I answer the prayer of the supplicant whenever he calls, so they should answer my call and believe in me that they may walk in the right path. I just want to break this up into bits and actually have a look at it in a little bit more depth. So here Allah says, and when my servant asks you concerning me. Here he's talking to the Holy Prophet, and he's not saying if my servant asks, he says when. So it's obvious that we will ask. It's like when my child goes to battle. He's in the army and he goes to war. I don't say if he comes home, I'll say when he comes home, because I know it's going to happen. I'm waiting for him to come home. And in the same way, Allah is waiting for us to ask him. And so he says, when my servant asks, because there will come a time in our lives when we will ask about Allah. So here he's saying when he will ask. And he's talking to the Holy Prophet, and when my servant asks you, meaning the Holy Prophet, concerning me, Allah says that he is near. He doesn't say, the response should be, tell him that I am near. But he takes the Holy Prophet out of the equation. He answers us directly. He says, indeed, I am very near. And here in Surah Qaf, in another part of the Holy Quran, in Surah Qaf, in Surah 50, verse 16, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. And we are nearer to him than his life vein, than his jugular vein. Allah is closer to us than our own life vein, our jugular vein. So Allah is actually explaining to us that he is so close that when we're actually asking, when the servants are asking the Holy Prophet about Allah, Allah answers them directly. He doesn't say, tell them that I am near. He says, I am near. It's so beautiful. And then he goes on to say, Ujibu, I respond, I answer immediately. What does he answer to? He actually brings the response before he mentions the request. So he actually says, I answer. What does he answer to? He answers to the call of the caller, da'wat da'i, the specific call, the specific dua, and it's singular. It's not dua in like lots and lots of prayers, but just that specific prayer of that specific person who's asking. Idha da'an, whenever he calls, whatever situation, it's not on Allah's schedule, but on our schedule. He doesn't say you have to ask at this specific time. He says whenever you call, he'll answer. And then he goes on, and what does he expect in return? He says, فَلْيَسْتَجِبُوا, so that he may just respond. He just wants us to answer. He just wants us to answer his call. How? By believing in him. Um, وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِهِ. Just believe in him. Believe that in what he's telling us. Believe in that he will respond. And in this way, we don't lose hope. We don't get despair. And if we do that, if we try to just believe in him, he's saying, just work towards answering my call by believing in me, believing that I will respond to you. And in that way, then if we do that, then la'allahum yarshudun, then hopefully, maybe, inshallah, we'll walk on the right path. It's so beautiful in the way that Allah gives us so much hope, tells us so implicitly that he will answer our call. So the next question is then, if Allah already knows what I want and what I need, then why do I need to ask him? There are lots of reasons for this. One is, I'm just going to mention a few here. One is that it makes us realize, what is it that I really want, and how much do I really want it? When I actually say it out loud, it makes me think about, what is it that I'm asking for? And do I really want it, or am I just asking for it because everyone else is, or because I thought I wanted it? It also makes me realize that everything is from Allah. If I'm asking and begging from him, then I know that I really have no control over anything, that I really don't have anything unless he gives it to me. And that brings about humbleness and humility within me. It breaks my ego, and it makes me build a relationship and a connection with him. And it also teaches me to be thankful for what I have, and to have sabr when I don't have it. And with sabr and shukr, then I can have iman, which is that faith in Allah. It makes me build a love and connection towards Allah. And also it helps me connect and love the Holy Prophet and the Aima, because I ask through them. Sometimes I ask through their wasila. I start off with the salawat and finish with the salawat. I ask Allah to give me, because of their love for him, for them. I ask them to ask on my behalf. I ask them directly because Allah has given them that right. The last thing I need to remember is that dua is the first step. There must be some sort of action that follows. I can't just sit here and pray and then expect miracles to happen where everything just comes to me without me having to do anything. Uh, the dua is the first step of realization to what I must do in order to bring about the thing that I want with Allah's help. So the dua is actually um, gaining the strength from Allah, gaining the tools from Allah, in order to then take action, so that then he can then give me what I require, because I've moved towards that thing that I want, and hopefully that will bring me closer to him, inshallah. There's a beautiful hadith from the sixth Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, where he says, do not say what is destined will happen. Of course it will happen. There's nothing randomness in his universe. Obviously God will give us what is good for us, and there's also cause and effect. Everything that I do has an effect. But the Imam continues to say, there is with Allah a position you will not attain except through dua. So we have to actually ask for it. And then he says, if a person shuts his mouth and does not request anything from Allah, he will not get anything. So there are things that are allocated to me, which I will get. There's a risk that is written for me, which I will get. But then there's a risk that I have to earn, that I have to actually go out there and earn it and work towards it. And part of working towards it is asking for dua, is asking Allah to give it to me. So I need to connect to Allah before I do anything, first and foremost, and that is through dua. How do I bring this home practically? I need to do dua to Allah continuously, constantly, every minute of the day. I need to be asking him. But before I do, I need to first and foremost ask for forgiveness, because there are things that I have done, there are sins that I have committed which may block my dua. It's in Dua Kumail we say, Allahumma gfirli ad-dunub allati tahbisu dua. Oh Allah, forgive me those sins that stop my duas being answered. So I need to ask for forgiveness for my sins. I need to eliminate the blocks that these things may have caused. So righting the wrong. So for example, one of the things that we know blocks our du'as are breaking family ties. So it's not enough that I ask for forgiveness for that, but I need to then remake those family ties, rebuild those connections, fix those broken family ties. Then I need to start off with my dua by asking for others, because when I ask for others, then not only do they get, but I get as well. The dua of others is much more powerful than my own dua for myself. So if I really want something, the best way to get it is to ask Allah to ask others to pray for it for me. I need to ask out loud. Again, as I said, when you ask out loud, it makes you realize what is it that you're asking for, how much do you want it, and also it brings about this humbleness, this humility within us. It breaks our ego, because it's like a beggar who's begging, and this is what we should be like. We should be begging. We should have our hands up, and actually in the position of a beggar, begging, because that's what we are. We're beggars, begging Allah for everything that we need. I need to differentiate between what I want and what I need. It's I can, obviously there's nothing wrong with asking for what I want, but I need to understand there's a difference between what I want and actually understand, why am I asking for it? Why do I want it so much? And is it something that's going to bring me closer to Allah or further away from Allah? Because what I need is to get closer and closer to Allah. I need to make sure I do not cut my dua. I need to always take it back to Allah. I shouldn't stop at the thing that I want, but ask for that thing to make me get closer to Allah. So, Ya Allah, give me this so that I become closer to you, so that it brings me closer to you, makes me um, become your servant more. I need to sandwich my dua with salawat. So I need to begin and end with the salawat, and we'll look at why that is important. And finally, I need to have certainty. I need to truly, truly believe that Allah will answer my dua, because that's what He's promised that He will do. I need to truly believe that and have yaqeen in that. And inshallah, in that way, our du'as will be accepted, and we will move towards moving closer to Allah, inshallah. Please join me tomorrow, where we'll start at looking at the first stance of dua Makarimul Akhlaq, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.